Hi, welcome to No Construction. Holy moly. What was it, the 26th? Uh, Tuesday of June 2018. Holy freaking free holies. Went to Commissioner's Court, and to my surprise, I actually arrived there almost an hour earlier than I normally do. And there was a horde of people. I mean, for the area horde, I mean, it was a good sized crowd otherwise. For this no family separation, the one specifically in Williamson County was for T. Don Hutto. Man, was that a crowd. Signs. I'm sure it's going to be on the news for the next. Well, when somebody watches this, it's going to be 2 decades in the past. And I'm most likely dead, but is what it is. So, crowd of people. It was shut down Hutto, which I think the shirt said T Dawn, just shut down T Dawn because shut down Hutto is a city, uh, or Hutto's a city, and saying shut down the city. I apologize for the shaking. Uh, yeah, and people were there going, "Oh, it's our Now this is where I lose people. Please hear what I have to say before you make your conclusion. All right, it's a whole thing, not just 3 words. Oh, that's where he's going with this. All right, I shouldn't say this, but people were acting as if they specifically were responsible for the shutting down uh, cease of contract with the county of T-Don Hutto. They weren't. All right. That was a facility that separates families, that takes part in separating families, and the President of the United States, who probably most of those involved in the um, crowd at Williamson County Courthouse uh, didn't have a specific part in it. It was I forgot what I was saying there for a second. The president, those people mostly don't like, is the one responsible for the actual signing of this. It is nothing that was done on county level. All right. So I'm not saying separating families is good. I'm not saying I agree with T. Don Hutto. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I am saying the crowd believes that because they went to the group uh, went to Commissioner's Court of Williamson County, Texas, 3 times. That's what brought on the change. It did not. Now, I I've been going to Commissioner's Court since October 2017, and I've gotten nowhere with what I want to do, which is stop our taxes being used in ways that not only raise our taxes but destroy our lives. Okay, and stop having farms paved over. And I mean that crowd was so huge for this no separation of family deal. All right, well, good thing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not frowning upon it. I'm not even saying anything bad about it. I didn't do my speech I planned. I planned like 10 different speeches, uh, which I'll get into in a bit. But imagine if that many people showed up at commissioners' courts, uh, whatever the state level's talking about, or Washington, D.C. All right, imagine the results. If those were the amount of people that uh, showed up to speak out against the veteran affairs, when veterans are doing road flare impressions, setting themselves on fire because the VA is so horrible, they are. literally dying in the waiting room, and Veterans Affairs is ruining their lives by lying to veterans. Okay? Imagine that could stop if that many people, half that many people showed up as what they did for this no family separation deal. All right? Not just showed up one day, but showed up every week. Imagine if that was done to prevent farms being paved over. You know, I tried to turn to the person next to me or somebody talk to me, mention like, man, imagine this crowd was here for the harm Veterans Affairs is doing to veterans or farms being paved over. They looked at me like I was a freaking weirdo. It's like, no, I've been here since coming here every day except for twice since October. Okay? No farms, no food equals starving people. Okay? It won't be a matter of can somebody afford the food. It'll be a matter of, oh, can you get to the food before somebody else does? Because there will not be enough to supply the food for everyone. And that is why I'm attempting to get the county to do something. Why am I going against the county? Well, when I went to various city council meetings, they said, oh, that's the county. That's the county. So here I am at the county. As county says they can't do anything, which I hear won't when they say that, because they will steal someone's property with eminent domain. On top of that, mineral rights. All right, they can take the land. So if they have the ability to steal the land, they have the ability to leave the land alone. And then it was pretty much the same meeting twice with the county. It was in the past week. I had 2 meetings with the county. All right, I've been trying to get a sit down with the county to talk about my ideas, talk them through, and implement them. I finally had, after 8 months of meetings last week. Well, in the past week, and it was more of them repeating the rhetoric of they can't, they can't. It's people's right to sell their property if they want to. And yes, they do. All right, I'm not arguing that. Even if it's something I don't like, it's their right to sell their property. But the part they want to drill into me is, well, if they want to sell it to a contractor, that's on them. I go, yes, it is. But that contractor, what they want to do has to be approved. You know, for mass housing, apartments, what have you, or a business building. Excuse me. They need permission from a city or county, possibly the state, to build that. It's called permits. And they don't comprehend saying no. Because the more built, the more our taxes are, because the more value by the taxman, or the taxman sees the properties as greater value. So along with tax rates increasing, the percentage somebody has to pay, the amount of money that a given property is worth also goes up, therefore increasing taxes. And on top of that, it ends up our tax money is paying for this development. All right? Road bonds, roads no one wants, uh, and buildings and housing no one wants. I understand people have to live somewhere. But when it is detrimental to the community's health, it has to stop. We are a sinking ship, and we cannot afford to take on more people. Look at Austin, Texas. Starting the 1st of next month, Austin Java, which I guess is a famous and a very popular coffee shop, is shutting down because they can no longer afford to pay those taxes. Today, which is the 27th, I believe, s- yes, the 27th. Essential or some library in Austin had to shut down because it did not have enough water. That is what's happening to Williamson County. It's happened to California. It happens in New York. It's happening in Austin. And now it's happening in Williamson County. Taxes are going up regardless of reason, and people can't afford them. Austin can't afford Austin anymore, just like California can't afford California, and as well as New York. And now Williamson County is getting to the point of they cannot afford themselves. First responders already are unable to afford the cheapest of the cheap housing. Okay, first responders. You would think they would be paid at least enough to afford minimal housing, and they are not. And a lot of people are in the same boat. I know people that work 40 hours a week, and they do not make a living wage. At one time, it may have been a living wage, but with all these increased number of roads, increased housing and buildings, it screws all of us. And it's our tax money doing it with the road bonds, well, any bond, all right, that increases our debt, which uh, the city, county, and state debt, once that increases our taxes. And then when everything's complete, it increases the perceived value, therefore higher taxes on that. I mean, it's beyond a double-edged sword. It's a triple, quadruple-edged sword. You know, I believe I said in my last video, this is June special 1, that the county's telling me that, well, we need to relieve the congestion by making more roads. All right, cool. Then what happens when those roads are so open, both sides? They build. They go, oh, well, let's put housing. Let's put buildings there. All right, fine. But then that leads to more roads. It's a never-ending cycle. So the only way to deal with it is to stop, because it's like getting an incision. You know, the cut keeps going and going and going and going. So to fix that, you put stitches. Okay? But then you keep cutting. The stitches will never catch up with the end of the cut because there is no end to the cut. And in fact, the cut rate of speed of being cut is increasing, and the stitches are slowing down as well. There's literally no winning. I mean, there's only one solution: stop. Don't improve that. Don't improve the buildings. Too bad for the contractor. Screw them. They don't care about our properties. They don't care about our community. They care about the dollar. If you have the ability to say yes, you have the ability to say no. All right, that's pretty much what I went over Wednesday. And on how some of my ideas will be, instead of spending money on things that destroy our lives, how about use the money, the tax money, to better our lives? All right. And this is where I come back to where I said I would come back 5 minutes ago. That once I raised, oh well, I'm trying to get to the people I met with of the county. They Once they beat it out of me, they didn't. I freely admitted it. That, oh, you want to use the taxpayers' money for your ideas. All right, they're not to personally benefit me. It'll benefit all of us. All right, and some of them will create jobs, and not just temporary jobs at that. They're like, oh, well, why should tax money be used to on your ideas? I'm not saying, okay, commissioner, city council member, you alone decide whether the tax money funds are to be used on my ID or not. No, no, no. Put it to the vote the same as any bond. All right. And if the people don't want it, that's fine. But they have yet to be able to make that decision, or have the opportunity to make that decision. Would be a better wording. Yeah, they have yet to have the opportunity to make that decision. And I'm going to say it in my next. Well, it might be my next or next speech. Um, I don't know. It's how it depends on how much I add, I take away. I'm adapting. I have 2 weeks to adapt my speech and mess with it. So more is going to be added, some's going to be taken away, and all that stuff. And I only have 3 minutes. Um, but I do eventually plan to say that, all right, fine, politicians, you have a problem with me wanting to use taxpayers' money to better our lives. Fine. The next time you're campaigning, don't accept donations. Don't accept assistance from any party, be it Democrat or Republican, what have you. All right? No, no, no. You only use the money out of your pocket. Okay? Now, if I had the money, yes, I would literally put my money where my mouth is, just like I did in the 2 meetings I had with the county. I was ready to put up or shut up, and I put up, and they were not interested in bettering our lives. They say yes to everything that destroys our lives, makes it harder, and they say no to anything that may make it better. Okay? So, yeah. I don't know if taxpayer money is used in any campaign or not. It wouldn't surprise me. All right? There's a whole bunch of illegal, ethical, and immoral things being done uh, every level of government, local and otherwise. So it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know if taxpayers' money is used in anyone's campaign. But I do know they get donations and a party's assistance if they are affiliated. So yeah, you know, if you have a problem with that, the next time you go campaigning, use the money out of your own pocket. Let's see how that works. The Romans built much like we are building now, and they fell. The mines spread out further than what their food supply could support. Easter Island was more concerned with building than agriculture, and their building actually destroyed their agriculture. I'm sorry. You might go to the store and not think of farms, but most of those ingredients, even the stuff that are chemicals, starts on a farm somewhere. Williamson County, at least of 2016 census, needs over 500,000, probably at this point 600,000 acres to supply us with our own food. And people might say, well, elsewhere, other farms elsewhere. Well, that's great, except everybody's destroying farms everywhere, and no one's able to pick up the slack. So if we can't support ourselves, we can't support elsewhere. On top of that, the further the food has to be transported, that drives up the price. Uh, so yeah, I don't know what else to say. The main purpose of this was, if that type of crowd, I mean, it's like they just acted. And well, it doesn't concern me at the moment, so why should I pay attention to it? It affects all of us. You know, you want Austin to afford Austin. You want Williamson County to afford Williamson County. Something has to be done. And you kind of need to start paying attention to what I'm saying, and come in those giant crowds as he did to make sure the county ceases its contract with Teton Hutto, for Teton Hutto. All right? Maybe vets won't be dying the way they're dying, won't be suffering the way they're suffering, and maybe, one day milk won't have to be $10 a gallon. I guess that's all for this. Thanks for watching.